To the CT Sports Talent Show. My name is Chris Saunders. I'm pleased to have on with me. Returning guest as always. It seems like I have him on every year, sometimes even during the season. The Granby head football coach, Coach Shortell, is with me. Coach, I appreciate you coming on, as always.
Chris, thank you again. Appreciate it. It's great seeing you, and super appreciate and look forward to all the coverage you do throughout the year for football and all sports. It's great stuff.
I've known you for a number of years, and you and I were just talking about obviously the years of Granby and obviously just football entirely. I mean, we're getting to that point now. It's July 15th. We're probably less than a month and change away from when really things start to get underway with practices. I know there's been the out of season conditioning. I know the grip and rip, camp. You guys were a part of that. There were some other teams too. I mean, are your juices flowing a little bit more? I'm sure the grip and rip, camp really kind of got things going.
Yeah, no, I mean we're itching here. We're excited. The kids are working hard, going from the winter, onto our summer workouts now, from lifts and conditioning to the Windsor Passing League. We just finished grip it and rip it last weekend. We're taking advantage of the 4 hours a week working our linemen. Yeah, so we're anxious. We can't wait. It's pretty much 4 weeks away, August 19th. It'll be here quick.
Now, when you look at kind of coming into this season, and I think, I've mentioned this to a couple coaches that I've had on that this is kind of like you guys are like the guinea pigs as far as with the out of season, kind of giving the amount of hours, 2 hours for 2 days per week to be able to do a lot to the kids, to be able to get them ready for the upcoming season. How has that been? I mean, 4 hours total is really not a lot of time, but also I think it's good because you're not overextending it when the football season starts. It's like a 24/7, 7 day a week thing until basically the end of the season.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. That's one big thing. As a staff, we all agree on. We don't want to burn the boys out. It's it's a lot of work you put in all year round to prep for a 10 to 11, 12, 13 game season. So with everything else we do in the summer, we're trying not to burn each other out, but still take advantage of getting the boys better to keeping a successful program.
No, I don't mean to open up a wound per se and put some salt on it, but how last season ended for you guys against a team in my neck of the woods, the Watertown Warriors, that they're called. And, that was a game. It was an odd one. Neither team really played great. Obviously, your team had a couple too many fumbles, and that realistically, you could say kind of cost the game, right? And, when you kind of look at the regular season has been such a success for you guys, but it's been that postseason game that has kind of evaded you guys, has kind of ran away per se. Has that been something you've been thinking about this offseason? Like, what do I have to do to just get that one win? That's all we need. Just break the curse.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean that's definitely the monkey on my back right now. I mean we're going, a few years now where we make it, we're a 1 seed or a 2 seed, and we just sort of sink once we hit the playoffs. The past few years were different. The past few years we lost. I would say it's never fun. It's it stinks,
Mhm.
but we played good football. So as a staff, as a team, we talked like we just lost. We played good football. But this last year, it's we all have a bad taste in our mouth. We did not play good football. We did not. We didn't play Bears football like we played all year. If you watched us in that playoff game compared to the other 10 games, you'd be like, who is this team? How are they a playoff team? Like it wasn't good. But that's helping us now this offseason. The boys remember it. We still talk about it. Even though we said we never would again. So it's actually, I think it's helping our offseason. And that's going to, hopefully help us keep rolling here come camp August 19th.
Is there any chance when you're in the weight room with the guys or if you're in meetings, obviously, I know coaches, when a situation like that happens, they'll put a reminder. I know college and even pros have done something like that where a major situation has occurred, a negative one. They make sure the guys don't forget and they see it every day. I don't know if you're putting up the amount of fumbles and turnovers you guys had in that game for the kids to remember, but have you guys been saying or have you put anything to have be like, hey, you see that? That's not happening again. Have you done anything like that?
Oh yeah, we always bring it up. We're always giving the kids a hard time, trying to make a light of it, but still, remember, that feeling and how awful it felt at the end of that game. And we know we were a much better team than how we showed up that night.
So as we go into this season, man, I mean, you talked about some of the positions. I mean, what are we looking at without giving up too much? What can people kind of expect from this Granby team? Because I know one thing, you guys are country strong. You got some kids that can obviously ball, but you also got kids that are just physically strong and just gifted strong too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited that we're lucky. I think we're returning almost, I think, 7 guys both sides of the ball. Some of the majority of them will be their third year starting varsity. They're crushing the weight room. This is probably as a group our best numbers. I think we're almost right around high 90% wise of attendance. Kids are going to baseball, still coming to lift. Kids are doing basketball, still coming to lift. They're wrestling.
Mhm.
Um, so we're excited, and we're turning a lot of our skill guys who almost everyone is definitely all 2-year starters. Some are 3. Our
Mhm.
quarterback's back, Vinny. He's working his tail off, and he pitched great for Canton this year as a pitcher. Um, and then he's been crushing it this summer, working hard, working with the QB coach, doing the passing leagues.
Mhm.
And he's put on, I think, almost 20 pounds. So he looks good. We're excited about him. All of our receivers are back. Now we have Ryan Kanowski, Carter Chambers, Ben Vrabel. They look great. We have Hayes Horse back. He's our probably running back, tight end for us. There's actually a lineman the last 3 years for us because he's just a great football player, and it was to the point where we had too many skill guys, so we had to move him to the line. So he took a team and won for the team those years, but he's back to running the rock this year. So we're excited about that. And then defense, pretty much those guys are our secondary too, because we're a small team, so a lot of guys play. I say all 3 sides because they play special teams too,
Mhm.
of the ball. So yeah, we're excited. We'll see what happens. And lineman wise, I started 2 freshmen last year, um, so that was a huge surprise. They look great, and they're still working super hard. Then I have two juniors and a senior returning that are all coming back into the mix, and a lot of sophomores who got playing time last year. So we'll see.
How is the communication? Because you just talked about as far as the kids, obviously, if they have to, if they're basketball players or baseball or et cetera. I was talking to a basketball coach who was just hired at Naugatuck, John Mariano, who's in his first year with Naugy, obviously a great young coach. And he told me he sat down with Coach Anderson, former Woodland coach, won a couple titles, and now has been with Naugatuck for a number of years, has beaten Ansonia rather 2 of the 4 years that he's been a part of, or 2 of the 3 years, 2 of the 4 years with Nagy. Um, but he said that he sat down with him and said, "Hey, I don't want to cross the hairs with football. I mean, I want to make sure that we get everything scheduled correctly, and also we don't burn the kids out." So I'm assuming, I don't know if you did this, so correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm sure you sat down with Coach Wally, Coach Hanson, and some of the other guys and said, "Hey, here's what I got. Here's the schedule. How can we make this work so we're not burning the kids out? But you're getting the best out of Tommy on both basketball and for football." Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah, I mean we see each other every day, so we stay in good contact. Make sure obviously if there's a game they're not going to lift. But practices, it benefits to help keep them injury free during the basketball season. Helps make them bigger, faster, stronger, and that helps us out too. To get ready for the football season.
When you think about kind of coming into the season, right? We're back to the 6 classes again, and for people who may not know, it's SSSMMML. So it's going to be 6 champions again. The number has gone now. Some teams have kind of switched. You and I were just talking about North Haven. I think they were an L, now they're an M. I think they're one of the few that have dropped that was a title contender or title winner from the previous year. They dropped the class. Killingly, most notably, they were high. They also dropped as well because the CIC is not going against the agro program to force teams to go up. Now it's kind of being reduced a little bit. Um, Obviously you're not like, okay, looking at it presently right now, things could change in a matter of months, right? You could look at a team that you think, okay, this team could be very competitive, but then half their team gets injured and then they're a shell of themselves. Like Naugatuck right before COVID back in 2019. They were 5-0 at the beginning of the year. They finished the season 5-5 because their entire team got hurt. So are you really kind of looking at the teams that you are competing with this year, or are you not even thinking about that?
No, we're worried about game one here, SMSA. in early September, and that's take it week by week, day by day.
Mhm.
See who's healthy, what we're dealing with, and just try take care of the task at hand for that week.
I always talk about, and I mentioned this during my broadcast, the two conferences that get mentioned the least, three conferences rather. You got the Tech League, the NVL, and then lastly the Pequot. I think the Pequot's probably the least mentioned of them all. ECC probably gets mentioned a little bit more than those three, but even they're a part of it too, to a certain degree. I know Killingly has helped kind of raise the bar with that as well. New London, obviously, going back to when they had Dylan and all those other guys, right? And Reed and such. Um, Talk to me about this Pequot conference. What are we looking at? I mean, is it going to be top heavy? Is it going to be pretty evenly matched? What are we looking at here?
I mean, just based off who I know of guys are returning and what the teams are doing. I think it should be. I think the same sort of teams I think will be up in the mix again, but it's going to be competitive. All across. A lot of teams that were down last year were super young, so they basically have their whole teams returning. Um, and I know that Peabody doesn't get much respect, but I mean, we represent playoffs every year. I mean, we had maybe 5 schools last year: us, Rockville, Cromwell, Morgan. Um, I don't know who else, if I missed anyone else, but we always have at least 3 or 4 schools, representing.
Hmm.
Like Ellington just missed it by, some bonus points sort of thing, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's just I know we don't get much respect, but I think we prove it. I mean, Cromwell was in the championship.
Hmm.
Valley's won it before. Stafford's been there a bunch. Rockville was in the championship. So,
Now, is SMSA a part of the Pequot or no?
last they made it 2 last year. Yes,
Yeah, they
yes,
played against Holy Cross, and
yeah.
I thought SMSA was going to potentially give Holy Cross a run for their money. Holy Cross beat them obviously, and then they played Rockville, and we know how that happened. Rockville beat them, but I mean, the SMSA was a sneaky team. I mean, they were very good.
They were good. And they beat us last year as for the division title.
Yes.
We battled. I mean, they had a huge line, super talented quarterback and running back, strong defense. They were a good team. We battled with them. They made playoffs too the past couple of years. So they're definitely a Pequot team, and they're definitely a sneaky team as well.
You've been a part of Granby now for a number of years at Granby-Canton Co-op, I should say. When you think about the amount of years that you've been there, right? I mean, I mean, are you still having fun? Are you still energized? I know you got that young face. You got a number of kids. I know you got a birthday coming up for one of them, and that should be a fun time. I mean, are we looking at a number of years still to go? I mean, is that fire still burning, Coach?
Oh, the fire's there. Believe me. I live for this. I love coaching. It's great. Love seeing the kids grow and just see the program grow from where it was. When I started 12, 13 years ago to where it is now. Just working with the kids all year round. We're more than a program. We're a family. My kids love coming to practice, hanging out with the team. It's a great thing we have coming. I guess up north, like a lot of the other towns like to say. So I love it.
Well, it's good to hear that obviously, the fire's still burning and you still love doing it. I'm sure, I know the booster club that you guys have does a fantastic job. I know the support is there. I know the families obviously love. I know they come out and they support and they obviously love what you're doing because they allow their sons to be able to come out and to be able to play and such. I mean, that's got to mean a lot to you as well.
Absolutely. I mean, the parents have been great. Really no issues. Are at the point now they trust me. They love what we're doing as a program, as a staff. And everyone's just super supportive. Everyone in town, from being at the gas station or the grocery store, for boosters helping, parents stepping in to help work the gates or the stands or set stuff up, team dinners. I mean, I tell kids they're spoiled. And we have 2 turf fields and the best of the best equipment and jerseys. It's great.
It's funny. I was talking with Mike Dombrowski probably about during the baseball season. We were having conversations and such. We were talking about, I had a couple questions about some teams I may have seen in the state final. And then we were talking about soccer, and he was telling me how he wants me to come up to call some soccer games. And he said he would sweeten the pot and, try to get me to come up there to call a game. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if I'm calling a soccer game, I can't leave Coach Shortell blind. I got to try to call maybe a football game if I ever get a chance to go up there. I mean, come on now. I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no, I think you got to come make a trip up here. You know, it's always a full house, packed crowd. You know, we have food trucks, the snack stand, great student section. You know, they're always super loud and rowdy. I think it's a great environment. And I've heard from other coaches saying that their kids look forward to coming up to our field because it feels like a real game. So I guess that that's a compliment. Yeah, it's great, great Friday nights up there.
Now, you mentioned the food truck. Before I let you go, what's the best food truck? Best food?
Pretzel
Pretzel, really?
at our games, pretzel, absolutely.
Now, why is that?
It, they're they have all these different, any kind of condiment you want to put on it, they have, and they have special sugars and sauces. It's pretty good.
So, what are you putting on it? I got to ask you.
To be honest, I never even had one.
You know what? So maybe I think I know what the problem is. You got to break the curse. You got to have a pretzel. Come on.
Whatever work I'm in.
Coach, I really appreciate you coming on. It's always a pleasure to be able to speak with you and talk about the Granby Bears and the squad, obviously the Granby-Canton Co-op. Best of luck this season, Coach. I'm sure I'm going to have you on during the season, either when you're sending me kids to have on the pod, or maybe we can do a recap of what's been going on through weeks 1 through 5, 1 through 6, whatever it is. But Coach, as always, I appreciate you.
Hey, Chris, again, appreciate being on the pod, talking with you, and again, appreciate everything you do for sports in Connecticut and the coverage.
Now, wrap things up here on the CT Sports Talent Show. So next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm enjoying finding them all. Enjoy the show, everybody, and be well.